The biblical calendar was given to the people of Israel to foster a perpetual annual remembrance of God's redemption, His faithfulness and loving actions towards His chosen people. The feasts and festivals of the Lord serve as a memory aid for every Jewish generation. It is easy to see how Messianic Judaism, that is, Jews who believe that Jesus is the Messiah, continue to include the celebration of the festivals in their walk with the Lord. But what about Gentile Christians? Are the festivals of any value and importance to Christianity today? The festivals are there in the Bible, but they are in the Hebrew Bible, what we call the Old Testament, and they are given to Israel. They are often taught in Sunday school, but never celebrated much after that. Can they still be relevant to us? Now, as we ponder this question, we should contemplate the words of the Apostle Paul in Romans 11, reminding Gentile believers from prideful boasting against the Jewish people, but that it is the Jewish root that supports them. Judaism places special value on the sanctifying of time. This approach to time is radically different to the other religions of the ancient world. At the conclusion of every day in the creation week, God looked at His world and He said it was good. However, when He came to the Sabbath, He didn't say it was good. He said it was holy. The first thing that God had made holy was time. And time is important to God. Now, why is that? God has intervened in His creation and impacted the world with His mighty acts of power as well as humble acts of grace. He forged a path through the Red Sea. He brought manna from heaven, gave the Torah at Sinai, and entered the world as a gentle baby. He has done these things at certain times in history, and it is worth remembering. God knows we are a forgetful people. He doesn't want us to forget who He is or what He has done. In fact, the most common command in the Bible is to remember. The feasts of the Lord, for that is what they are called in the Bible, are more than agricultural festivals. God reveals much of Himself in these sacred times. Biblically, they preserve history. They reflect the characteristics of God, but they also enlighten us to the prophetic. For example, the Passover foretold of an even greater redemption in the Messiah, and Shavuot becomes the foreshadow of the events of Pentecost and the acts of the Holy Spirit. These actions of remembering were so important to Paul that he urged the Corinthians, a community of both Jews and Gentiles, to keep the Passover feast in sincerity and in truth. The message of the festivals are timeless, and time is important to God. If it is important to God, perhaps it should be important to us. The festivals are a recognition of the Jewish roots of our faith. They can be enriching in our walk with the Lord. However, they should never become a line of demarcation or a source of pride. We should be careful not to cause division in our communities over these things. It is not commanded for Gentiles to celebrate the feasts, but that desire to celebrate, to share and to learn from our Jewish roots should come from us. We don't have to, we get to. There is a blessing in remembering what God has done and what God will still do. As we near the season of the Jewish high holidays, we as a community at CMJ, and even you who are watching at home, need to remember that we do not focus on these festivals in a shallow attempt to recover our Jewish roots. God did not command the festivals as a mechanism of blind obedience. We need to remember that it is important to obey God, but it is just as important to comprehend and live out the message that God gives us through these festivals. So over the next few weeks, we will be on the lookout for our 3 videos, one for each of the high holidays. And in them, we will attempt to unpack the holy principles that God emphasizes in His command to remember. These festivals remind us of the importance of joy, the importance of thanksgiving, and especially the principle of holiness. Our end goal is not to be a Jewish roots movement, but through the understanding of the Hebraic context of something like the biblical feasts, our goal is to better live out the call of discipleship that Jesus of Nazareth has challenged us to.